This article is very important because it contains the material that can be used for the GS paper 1 world history under the Cold War politics. What was the Cold War? What was the events? This Cuban missile has been mentioned under this Cold War politics. Besides that, the arm race was also part of the Cold War. So world history as well as the global nuclear order. Whenever you talk about the world order, changing world order, GS paper 2 international relation, so this comes, and those who have the political science as the optional, they can also use this under their optional paper 2. What is the difference between writing an answer for the GS paper 2 and a political science optional paper, political science and international relation, PSIR, optional paper? So whenever you are using or you are writing these points in your optional paper, just you have to use those who are using for the political science and international relation answer, so they have to just mention the name of export, like this export Rakesh Sood, and he was the former prime minister invite to the disarmament and the non-proliferation, and also he is the distinguished fellow of the Council for the Strategic and the Defense Research. So you have to mention just name as per the Rakesh Sood, and you can use under your optional paper. This content will remain the same. This article mainly start with the Cold War politics, and I will read between the two major blocs, one represented by the US and other represented by the Russia, and it was the Cuban Missile Crisis. Cuba is a country that is very close to the US, and under the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, Russia, then USSR, started piling up its nuclear weapon in the Cuba. So US faced a challenge and faced threatened by this installation of missile weapons or nuclear weapons. So US Navy blocked this movement of nuclear weapons in the Atlantic Ocean, and that particular point of the time the world faced that the world is going to face the nuclear war. But due to the negotiation between the John F. Kennedy and particularly his brother, and between it was between the US President John F. Kennedy and the head of particularly the General Secretary, that was the head of the USSR, Nikita Khrushchev. So negotiation was achieved, and further it was started with the hotline. They started talking to reduce this piling up and how to face this challenge. And further it developed into the Nuclear Risk Reduction Center, and it was followed by the negotiation on the arms control. And further it was resulted in the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and particularly to prevent the further proliferation of nuclear weapons. One thing you should remember that the India is not part of this treaty, non-NPT, non-proliferation treaty. India is not part of this. In the prelims, they can ask the question whether India is part or not. Okay. What India did it is very interesting that the India also exploded the nuclear technology test, and by that, when the world asked that why this test, so India said that it is the peaceful purpose. I am exploding this weapon for the peaceful purpose. So think that is how much how logical it is that you are exploding the nuclear technology, nuclear bomb, and you are telling that this is for the peaceful purpose. That was the reply from the India. So the major power of the world who had particularly this USSR, UK, France, and US including Canada and Japan and West Germany. They meet to discuss that how to ensure that this nuclear technology is not transferred for the such nuclear peaceful nuclear explosion. So this club is known as the London Club, and it further resulted into the nuclear supplier group. Now it has 48 countries. India is still not member of this NSG. China has blocked India from entering, and China is part of this nuclear supplier group. What it do, this nuclear supplier group, what is its main function? Its function is to provide the guideline related to the dual use material, how those material and the technology that should be the transferred from one country to other country, that doesn't result into the misuse and particularly the development of the nuclear weapon. So this is all thing. Russia is also part of that, and despite India-Soviet friendship treaty that was done in 1971, just before the Indo-Pakistan War of 1971, Russia was very much supportive of that particular group, and on this matter, it didn't took side with the India. Further, this article is talking about the success of the non-proliferation. So it is talking that the horizontal nuclear proliferation has been prevented. As per the expectation, the many of the experts thought that by 1970 there will be the 20 countries with the nuclear power, but it was the only 5 countries by the 1970s with the nuclear power, and those nuclear power countries US, USSR, UK, France and China. And till now only 4 edition has been there with respect to the nuclear power country, and even they are not recognized state. These are the India, Israel, North Korea and Pakistan. So horizontal, there is the two type of the concept with the proliferation. One is the horizontal proliferation, one is the vertical proliferation. You should know what is the horizontal proliferation. For example, when we talk about the horizontal proliferation, it means that if there is the, think about this is the US, this is Russia, and this is China. So if there is 3 countries, and this is US, Russia and China. This is Japan and this is Italy. These 3 have the nuclear weapon. So under horizontal non-proliferation, whatever the number of the country under the nuclear power, nuclear weapon, shouldn't increase. Means if there is the 3, to prevent others to become a nuclear weapon country, this will be a part of the horizontal proliferation. Horizontal proliferation means the increase in the number of state, like the, if the Japan, Italy also acquire the nuclear weapon, then it will turn into the proliferation in horizontal manner. More number of the countries who don't have the nuclear weapon, they also get the nuclear weapon. So horizontal proliferation we have, this treaty has prevented because only 4 states got the nuclear weapon. But with respect to the vertical, what is the vertical proliferation? Again, just in this condition you consider those countries with the nuclear weapon. So if this is US, this is Russia and this is China. US has 100 nuclear weapon, Russia has 80 and China has 10. Vertical proliferation means number of weapons increases 100 to the 1000 weapons. Then we will call it as the vertical proliferation. Russia 8 to the 800 nuclear weapon. So it will be the vertical proliferation. So this is the difference between the horizontal proliferation and the vertical proliferation. More or less, world got success in preventing the horizontal proliferation, but there was huge vertical proliferation. For example, The USSR and the US increased their number of the nuclear bombs till 1962, and 1980 it was uh, 28,000 bombs they have. By the 1962, this is that much increase in the number of the nuclear bombs. Are you getting now? And from 1962, it increased to the 65,000. So a dramatic increase, threefold. I think 2.5 times increase in the number of the nuclear bombs. So it is the vertical proliferation. But yes, after in the context of the disintegration of the USSR, we also saw the this number of the bomb decrease as Russia subdued and its disintegration. So this was the result. And other reason for this reduction in number of the weapons was that there was the mutual understanding between the both countries that if one is going to strike on the other with the nuclear weapon, the other will also strike with the more capability, second strike capability. And this created the particularly the incentive for the any attack. That's why the number of the arms race particularly changed. What is the arms race? Do you know what is the arms race? Arms race is also the part of Cold War events. Arms race means if one country is going to develop some weapon or the uh, something that is related to the increase in the arms. Other is also going to develop with the more sophisticated technology. You all must have seen this movie recently, Oppenheimer, and that this we saw that the US start developing this nuclear weapon. Simultaneously, we saw that the arm race in the USSR, Russia was also developing to race with the US. So if something is being developed by the one country, others will also try to develop with the whatever cost they are going to occur. Same times in same movie we saw that Germany was developing. If both going to develop the nuclear weapons, what they go for the race, more sophisticated weapons means if US has developed a weapon to strike one city, USSR will try to race to develop a weapon and technology that can destroy 10 cities in one strike. So this is the race. The race never end, and this arm race result in the more and more weapon in the world and more threat. If you have more guns, you will have the more threat to kill each other. Same was the case with the world. Recent change in the geopolitics. Now, the US before 2000, 2005-6 particularly, there was the one challenge to the US rivalry with the Russia. But now recently we have seen that the China has also become the rival, and it has equally competing with the US with respect to the economy and technology. So now there is the word is not the dual bipolar, but it has become the tripolar, and many talks about the multipolar word. There is no not there is not a common agreement, but there is the so many view on this. We have also saw the setback to the this arms control, particularly in 2002, US withdrawal from the anti-ballistic missile treaty. This treaty was to limit the number of anti-ballistic missile. So this is information with respect to this. It was basically for the limitation of the anti-ballistic missile, and it's limited the only two complex for the anti-ballistic missile, and capacity should be the 100 anti-ballistic missiles. So one more treaty that US withdrawal is the intermediate range nuclear force, and particularly US accused Russia for the violating this treaty, and that's why it also withdrew from this treaty. Only to control arms race at the global level, there is the only treaty between US and Russia, that is the New START. The full form of, particularly the full form of New START is the measure for the further reduction and limitation of strategic offense. So here it is talking about the limitation of strategic offense arms. So new start, you should know this. UPSC can ask that new start is associated with what. So it can, a treaty between the Russia and US could be one of the. Last year we saw that withdrawal of Russia from the CTBT. CTBT is the comprehensive test ban treaty. So it prevent any type of the test, either it is for the military purpose or the nuclear test, either for the military purpose or the peaceful purpose. So it doesn't discriminate whether you can test nuclear weapon or anything. If you are going for the doing something for the peaceful purpose. What is the use of nuclear weapon or nuclear technology for the peaceful purpose? Particularly the energy production. Nuclear energy is in this context is useful for the peaceful use under the nuclear technology use. So with withdrawal of de-ratification of the Russia with respect to the comprehensive test ban treaty CTBT, India is also not part of this CTBT on the particularly on the ground that this treaty is also discriminatory. India is also out of NPT on the same ground that this treaty is discriminatory. So now the US is facing new situation under it has the two rival group, and now the thing is not that much easy for the US. But this further paragraph is accusing the US for the horizontal proliferation, like the US take most of its decision with national interest. In 1980s, US didn't uh, prevented China, and US was silent when the China was supporting Pakistan, in particular in 1980s, when China was developing the nuclear weapon and its technology. So it next thing is also mentioning that there is the confusion with regard to the nuclear submarine under the AUKUS deal. Under that, Australia, US, and UK are the part. So what are the AUKUS? AUKUS is the group of the Australia, US, and UK. And Australia is a non-nuclear weapon, and its deal is on the nuclear submarine. So if it doesn't have a nuclear weapon, how could it participate in the nuclear submarine development? So there is the chance of the nuclear weapon technology acquisition by the Australia. This further, this particular paragraph is mentioning that how in 1970s South Korea was prevented from acquiring nuclear weapon. Further, in the last paragraph, this is talking particularly that the situation at the world level, particularly Europe, is uncertain about the security provided by the US. So Europe, many in the Europe must be thinking that the development of their own nuclear weapon system. And also South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, they have the technical capability to make the nuclear weapon. Till now they were just not by their own intention, by own resolution, they were not developing. But if US is withdrawing from the as a security provider to these countries, so these countries can also think, because they are also facing the threat from the China and Taiwan. Japan and this South Korea always face the existential crisis due to the China and North Korea allied there very in their. This article is related to the GS paper 2, and you can use it under the India-Maldives relations. Before entering into the discussion what this talks about, you should know one concept, that is what is meant by the reductive nationalism. reductive nationalism. And this nationalism is very much relevant in the context of India's neighborhood. This concept of reductive nationalism means when a country, particularly the people of the country, when it starts showing their nationalism or their love for the nation by the criticizing and abusing one other nation. So this type of the nationalism, without doing any effective work or any productive work, just you have to do nothing. You have to abuse. For example, in the Nepal, when there was the blockade, there was the reductive nationalism. Many of the Nepali leaders and the people, section of the people, started criticizing India, abusing India, and by that they showed their nationalism. So this type of nationalism is found in the many neighbors of the India, like the Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives. Generally, one party support India, one party support China. Means closeness with the China. Now that is being seen in the Maldives. Maldives previous government was supportive of the India, and that's why. And this president that is being elected, Muhammad Muizzu, is very much anti-India, has the very much India stand, a very much anti-India stand, and has a pro-China stand. That's why this has been this total events took place. This started with the demand for the withdrawal of the hydrographic survey and the vessels and the ships and the military personality that are there to do this survey. This survey are done with respect to the knowing the different data, collection of the different data with respect to the sea, its environment, geographical location, like the what is the pattern of the ocean current, and different oceanic phenomena is and data is collected by this oceanic survey. So now new elected president want India to get out of this particular task, and this particular agreement has been withdrawn. So here it is talking that he's showing that it is the due to this hydrographic survey and Indian Navy presence and its military presence in the Maldives, it is hurting its sovereignty. But the reality is that it by withdrawal of the Indian Navy and the oceanographic survey team and mechanism, China will get the chance to do the same. And by that, China is very good in the using this hydrographic data for the military purpose, like it can ensure navigational safety, maritime scientific research, and environmental monitoring. This is the civilian use, non-military use, and military use could be the surveillance of the different installation of, maybe it could be in Indian Ocean, it could be the Indian military installation, and China is using this marine and seabed survey to advance a largely strategic agenda. Though there has been the example like the Chinese ships like the Sea Yan class of the oceanographic survey, and also Yuan Wang series of this intelligence surveillance reconnaissance ships regularly being deployed by the Chinese Indian Ocean. And how this data will help in the military operations, such as it can know the where is the submarine located, and also detection of the enemy submarine. Chinese submarine elude the detection and fine-tune tactics, means they can learn by this data how they can elude, they can prevent themselves from the detection from the Indian side. One thing you should know, this Colombo Security Conclave, particularly Maldives didn't participated. And this, what is this Colombo Security Conclave? This has been started by under the India initiative, particularly the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. And who are the members? Member nation are the India, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Mauritius, along with Bangladesh and Sicily as the observer state. So in the prelims they can ask who are the member. So Bangladesh is just observer, not the member. If the member country include only India, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Mauritius. So you should be clear about who are the members of the Colombo Security Conclave and who are the observers. Okay. Further, this China wanted to develop its observatory in the Mukunudhu Atoll. Mukunudhu Atoll that is very close to the Lakshadweep, and it is in the control of the Maldives. So here China wanted to make its submarine base. What is the atoll? Do you know what is the atoll? Atoll is geographical phenomena. This is like the, just let me explain that what is the atoll. If this is the ocean, sea surface, ocean or the sea surface, and this could be a island. Island is just above the surface of the surface, above the surface of the sea and ocean water. Atoll is just same phenomena, but it is under the sea surface. So here the submarine base is developed. No one can see the submarine, but it can gather the data. It can surveillance the nearby coastal area and coastal country. So you should know what is the atoll, and you should also remember this Maknudhu atoll. Maknudhu is associated with the Maldives. UPSC can ask. Further, this article is discussing that this Maldivian worry or the apprehension is not totally not unfounded. There is some basis for that because this intelligence collection, India's hydrographic activity being a form of intelligence collection. So there is also the UN clause that govern the rule and regulation on the sea, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, that doesn't explicitly authorize a coastal state to regulate hydrographic survey or military survey conducted beyond the territorial sea. And also it treats this hydrographic survey same as the military survey, means there is a similar treatment by the UN clause. But the but Maldives should understand that India's past, India's previous activities, like the in the Mauritius, we are doing. India is doing hydrographic survey and assistant to the Mauritius, and we have trained their personnel, and it has been the successfully developed the capacity of the personnel in the hydrographic survey area. So whenever you are comparing two nations or the two person, you should also compare with the nature. The nature of India is helping and not that much always clever maneuver. So it is not the India but the China that seeks weaponize the weapon survey. Weapon survey that should be the it should be the considered by the Maldives. So this article is talking about all important thing you need to remember: Makanudhu atoll and this Colombo Security Conclave. Two things you should remember from this article.